Hey everybody, this is Rustin with Metalholic, and with us today, Burton C Bell of the legendary Fear Factory. How are you doing, man?
I'm fine, thank you. Sitting in Denver.
I was going to
for a
say,
show.
my old stomping grounds. You guys are almost done with this leg of the tour, though, right? Getting ready to go over to Europe next?
Yeah. This is 3 more shows after this one, and then we head directly to Europe for the European Festival circuit.
Nice, Hannah. How did this tour treat you? You had quite a good lineup there going with you. Shadows Fall, I believe. Legacy of Disorder.
The Browning and the Devastated.
Right. So.
Yeah, it's going really well. The tour's going really well.
Now, I understand you guys are only playing one song, though, so far off the new album. Is there a reason for that?
Because the album's not out yet. And, just they play a song that people are hearing because Recharger is kind of, quote-unquote, a single. And so people have heard it. So, don't want people, you just want to keep people lively. So we just keep it just one song. And then when the record comes out, boom, we'll play more.
Nice. And the new album, The Industrialist, comes out on June 5th, of course. Can't wait for it to be out. Now, the Industrialist is a full-scale concept album, I believe, based on short stories you've written. Can you tell us how that all sort of came together for you?
Well, not the short stories I've written, but it's a full concept, like, obsolete, probably a little bit more. The Industrialist is an automaton that has become sentient. And, let me backtrack a little bit. Like all Fear Factory, like most of the Fear Factory records, there's a going theme of man versus machine. And it's set in a futuristic, dystopian type of world. And this time, it's still war, man versus machine, but it's from the perspective of a machine. And the Industrialist is a machine that has become sentient. And because of this newfound knowledge and this experience, it has discovered the will to survive, the will to exist. And so it's basically teaching others who are experiencing the same phenomenon to how to survive in that world by taking out the creators' manufacturing establishments and taking out not just basic men, but the men that are trying to destroy them.
I saw this program not too long ago where 6 experts sort of got together and discussed why the world as we know it was going to come to an end, and one of them predicted that artificial intelligence was going to become sentient, and to the point where choosing to destroy man was merely part of their programming because we are flawed as people and such, and therefore sort of like a virus, if you will. This seems to be something of a similar theme.
Well, in my story, the creators, man, is trying to take out the Industrialist and his type because it's an old model. The time when the Industrialist, the automaton, was created, it was, the best model available. But as technology improves and moves forward, of course, there's always a better model. And so, because it's become quote-unquote obsolete, they search them out. The man searches them out to disassemble them, to destroy them. The thought you're talking about, virus, that's a very, that's a great theory. It's a great concept. And have you seen Transcendent, the documentary about Ray Kurzweil called Transcendent Man?
No, I haven't seen that yet.
He kind of describes that, and but he's saying that artificial intelligence is not artificial; it is intelligence. Virtual reality is not virtual; it is reality. As our technology is moving forward, there's nothing artificial or virtual or reality. It is there.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Well, if it exists, it's not artificial. But
absolutely.
So, do you believe that somewhere in the not too distant future we could find ourselves becoming extinct at the hands of what we created?
There's a good distinct theory. There's definitely debate about it. I personally think that we'll become extinct because of man, not because of machines.
Right. Maybe some Orwellian thing there,
man we are our own worst enemy, and man's creating machines to destroy ourselves. So it's going to be by our own hand.
So what do you think will be our ultimate downfall then?
Greed.
be all about money. So now the Industrialist plays the protagonist basically in the storyline, but yet he's really sort of the antagonist of man in many ways, isn't he?
It plays both roles, exactly. Protagonist to the machines, antagonist to man, or to the creators. And it's kind of even in the story that I wrote, there's the scenes that precede each lyric, song lyrics, and scene bleeding into the lyrics, continuing the story. The Industrialist is having those moments of confusion, clarity. It's like, well, this is maybe a bad entity kind of thing, but I'm trying to survive. Man would do the same thing.
It's kind of odd to think of a machine having sort of that intellectual conflict with itself,
Mm-hmm. But that goes to the source of intelligence.
Right, higher reasoning. Now, sound-wise, you guys your sound has always been based with an industrial element, but I think on this new album, it really feels like you've got more of that back than you've had in previous efforts. Was that an intentional thing?
Yeah, absolutely. In my opinion, the industrial element is kind of neglected over a few albums, and there was definitely an industrial element in Soul of the Machine, even more so in Fears of My Killer, but it blended perfectly in Remanufacture and Remanufacture. But since then, it kind of got glossed over. And before we started recording, I was speaking to Dino. I was like, "Hey, man, there's an element I really think we should really have a reintroduce." And Dino and Reese both agreed, and I think it was a really good direction to turn.
And this album was pretty much you and Dino, of course, with your producer Reese. Byron was replaced by Matt DeVries from Chimaira, and if I understand correctly, Gene Hoglan was replaced by drum programming by Dino. Talk about an irony there, given the concept of the album. How did that alter the landscape of the recording process?
It made it a lot simpler, actually. Gene was a very busy fellow, and he made prior commitments before this recording process started happening. So even before that, Dino and I were discussing that Gene should program some drums. We should do it this way. Make it simpler. Just instead of sweating it out for hours a day in the studio, let's do it right. And drum program is the way to go. Because we've learned over time that even with Live Drummer, it never really was live, technically, because you use a live drummer, and then you go into Pro Tools, and you fix everything, make it exact, and then you sample sounds. So the live drummer becomes obsolete, and you might as well just go through, it all becomes a program in general. So we just went straight to the program. And it really simplified the process. It expedited the process. And John Sankey and Dino. John Sankey was the programmer that worked with Dino in the studio, writing. Dino's writing the riffs. The drum beats would follow, and that's how it usually goes.
Now, a lot of bands are getting to the point now where they're trying to go back to the analog, the old school ways of recording and getting away from Pro Tools and everything because they feel it's losing some of the humanity, if you will, that raw, organic nature of it. With what you guys are doing, you guys are sort of more embracing it, which is kind of fits into the theme of what you're doing on the Industrialist and what you're talking about.
Yeah, for some bands the analog sound works, but if you have competent and excellent engineers who understand the software, you can make your recording sound analog. It's not about the tool, it's about the person using the tool. It's about you know what I mean?
Right.
So, we have great engineers, we have great mixers, we have great masterers, and, it works for us. And so, in this day and age, most people listening to an MP3s, it doesn't really matter what you can listen to it on. MP3s suck out the life of every music, and honestly, to me, nothing sounds better than vinyl.
True, true. And you guys are also releasing this in 180-gram vinyl too, aren't you?
That's right. That's right.
Nice. It's nice to see vinyl coming back. You've been around this industry for a while and listened to a whole lot of stuff, been involved in a whole lot of stuff. For you, what 5 metal albums are sort of your essentials that you think should be in every collection?
It's not metal music that has inspired me to do what we've done, which is funny. I have such a huge collection and such, just naming 5 would be the tip of the iceberg. I can't even do that.
You clearly have some deep beliefs about man and society. In your mind, I know you said greed will be what our downfall is, but what is wrong with society these days, and do you think we're too far gone to fix it? The masses are probably too far gone. Greed, avarice, self-centered, egotistical. It's a lack of human compassion. It's all sorts of things, but the lack of human compassion is going to be a downfall. It's the apathy towards humanity itself. And to think that our society, that our civilization is the zenith of civilization is just ignorance. A lot of truth in that. Arrogance and ignorance, I think. So, final words then before we get out of here. The new album, for those who haven't heard it yet, The Industrialist, is absolutely wonderful. So as soon as it's available, make sure you go out and get it. Support the artists, support the music. Don't illegally download it and everything. You guys are going to be
please. If you have a favorite artist, please support your favorite artist by supporting them, not stealing from them.
Absolutely. Otherwise, we won't have any artists. They won't be able to afford to make music for a living. So you guys.
That's true. And it's a trickle down theory. If no one's buying records, that means it's less money for tour.
Right.
And if there's no money in touring, how can we survive? This is our survival.
Right, because when you sell the records, the labels are making more than you ever will. It's you being out on tour that helps you make some money to survive, to keep the process going.
The thing is, if they're still downloading, they're taking from the label, but they're also taking from the artist. The artist gets a cut from that, and that's it all amounts up to a good amount of money. The artist does get a cut, but if there is no cut, the label gets no cut, and then the artist definitely gets no cut. So everybody loses.
Right, we're basically pushing they say you can't kill rock and roll, but we're single-handedly killing it by stealing what the artist worked so hard to create for.
Yep. The people who download are killing it.
Right.
The people who pirate are killing the industry, and those are the people who don't give a fuck anyway.
All right, so our last question before we get out of here. When you're not working on creating music, touring and all that stuff, what else are you passionate about outside of music that you could talk about for hours?
I love photography. That's one of my first loves, something I've always been doing my whole life. I love to write. Writing is to be a writer is one of my goals. So working on that aspect of my career, I love traveling. And basically when I'm out on the road, I'm with my kids.
Burton C Bell of Fear Factory, the new album, The Industrialist, out June 5th. Thanks so much for taking the time to talk with us tonight.
My pleasure. I really appreciate you calling.
Absolutely, and hopefully we'll get to see you in my neck of the woods somewhere on this long and heavy tour, and be safe out there.
Thanks, brother. Take care.